Welcome back to Hits and Headlines, everyone. Whether you're a loyal listener or joining us for the first time, we're so glad to have you here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Today, we're diving into two exciting topics. First, we'll take a look at the much-anticipated 50th Metro Manila Film Festival, MMFF entries, and the buzz surrounding this milestone event. And to top it off, we'll discuss how Hello, Love Again, one of the standout MMFF films, is making waves as it heads to the 2025 Miami International Film Festival, MIFF, in Los Angeles. Our dynamic host, Zachary.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hits and Headlines. I'm Zachary, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive into today's exciting topics.
A passionate film enthusiast, and Dinah.
Hello, everyone. It's great to have you with us today. I'm Dinah, and I can't wait to jump into our discussion. Let's get started.
Who love shining a light on Filipino achievements, are here to break it all down. So let's dive into the celebration of Filipino cinema with Zachary and Dinah.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be talking about Filipino film. It's making a splash internationally, and we're going to be using the Manila International Film Festival, or MIFF, as kind of our jumping off point. Yeah. It's going to be a really interesting mix of kind of festival news and then also diving into some of these films. So I think you guys are going to get a lot out of it.
Yeah, you know what's really exciting is this festival is in LA. So that puts Filipino filmmakers right in the heart of the entertainment industry. It's such a great opportunity for them to connect with a much wider audience.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking Hollywood, the TCL Chinese Theater, you know, the one with the handprints and the footprints. But this isn't just any film festival, right? This coincides with a pretty big milestone for the Philippines.
Yeah, this is the 50th anniversary of the Metro Manila Film Festival, or MMFF. And that's a really big deal over there. So the fact that all 10 entries from this year's MMFF are going to be shown at MIFF is really cool. It shows how much the world is starting to pay attention to Filipino films.
Yeah, and get ready for some titles here. We got The Kingdom, and the breadwinner is Green Bones, Isang Himala, Hold Me Close, My Future You, Strange Frequencies, Taiwan Killer Hospital, just to name a few. I mean, even just hearing the titles, you can kind of get a sense of like the different genres and stories that Filipino cinema is exploring. But before we get too caught up in the new stuff, MIFF is also showcasing some older Filipino films.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where it gets really interesting. They're going to be showing Genghis Khan from 1950. And you might be thinking, why a Filipino film about Genghis Khan? Well, it actually goes to show how ambitious Filipino filmmakers were even back then. They were already looking beyond their own country for stories to tell.
That's really cool. It's like this international mindset isn't new for them. And speaking of going way back, there's also a documentary from 1938 called Filipinos in America, which I think will be really interesting to see.
Yeah, these historical films really help us understand the contemporary scene. They remind us that Filipino cinema has always dealt with themes of identity and migration and cultural exchange. But MIFF isn't just about looking back. They're also putting a spotlight on the independent film scene in the Philippines, like with The Debut, directed by Filipino-American filmmaker Gene Cajan.
Oh, The Debut is a great example of how cross-cultural perspectives can really enrich storytelling. It explores what it's like to be Filipino-American, dealing with multiple cultural identities. And of course, we can't forget about the more recent hits like Hello, Love Again, a rom-com that's already got some international buzz going.
Yeah, the success of films like that shows that Filipino stories can really connect with the global audience. They tap into these universal themes like love and relationships, but they do it with a distinctly Filipino feel. It's relatable, but also refreshing.
Totally. It's like taking a familiar genre like the rom-com and giving it that Filipino twist, the humor, the cultural nuances. It makes for a really unique and engaging experience. And there's even more. We've got Nurse Unseen, a documentary, and Song of the Fireflies, which is a musical drama with a star-studded Filipino cast, and it's actually having its world premiere at MIFF.
Wow, a world premiere. That's huge. That means the industry's really paying attention. But beyond all the premieres and the red carpets, there's a bigger story here.
Okay, so what's the big picture?
Well, think about it. The 50th anniversary of MMFF, this diverse lineup of films, all in Hollywood, it all points to this growing global interest in Filipino cinema. But what does that really mean? And what could the future hold? Those are the questions we need to unpack.
Okay, so we know that Filipino cinema is really starting to make waves internationally. But what does all this attention actually mean for the industry itself? And for the stories they're telling.
Well, it has the potential to be a real game changer. I mean, more visibility could lead to more funding for Filipino filmmakers. Imagine bigger budgets, better resources, collaborations with international talent. All of that could really elevate the production value and help Filipino films have an even bigger impact globally.
Yeah, that's exciting. We're not just talking about artistic growth, but like a potential economic boost for the Philippine film industry too. But recognition from a prestigious festival like MIFF isn't just about money. It's also a stamp of approval, you know?
Right. It's like a signal to the whole industry, to distributors, critics, everyone, that Filipino filmmakers are creating work that deserves global attention. This could open doors to wider distribution, more film festival screenings, maybe even some Oscar nods down the line. Who knows? We might see a Filipino film taking home a golden statue someday.
Oh man, that would be amazing. And think about what that kind of success could do. It could inspire a whole new generation of Filipino filmmakers and attract even more talent to the industry.
Absolutely. Success breeds success. Imagine a thriving Filipino film industry, recognized and respected around the world. It's not just a dream, it's a real possibility. And with all this global attention comes the potential for some amazing collaborations. We could see Filipino stories being told with the support and resources of international studios, reaching an even wider audience.
Yeah, it's exciting to think about, but also raises some important questions. Like Filipino cinema has always reflected Filipino society, its values and struggles. So as these films reach a wider audience, how do we make sure those authentic voices and perspectives are still there?
That's a really important point. Filipino films give us this unique window into Filipino life. They showcase the country's diversity and resilience and cultural richness. It's about challenging those stereotypical Western narratives and making sure Filipino voices are heard in their own right.
Right, and it's interesting because as Filipino filmmakers gain international recognition, there's always that risk of catering to Western tastes and losing that unique voice that makes their work so special. It's a tough balance to strike, appealing to a global audience while staying true to your own cultural identity.
Absolutely. It's about finding that sweet spot where you can bridge cultures without sacrificing authenticity. And that's where events like MIFF are so important. They give Filipino filmmakers a platform to showcase their work internationally without having to compromise their artistic vision.
So MIFF becomes like this space for cultural exchange, where filmmakers and audiences from different backgrounds can connect. But let's be real, there are always challenges, right? So what are some of the hurdles Filipino cinema faces in trying to get global recognition?
Well, one of the biggest challenges has always been funding and resources. The Filipino film industry hasn't always had the financial backing to compete on a global scale. And then there's the whole issue of international distribution and marketing. It's a crowded marketplace out there. So getting Filipino films in front of the right audience is key.
So strategic partnerships and collaborations become even more important than, right?
Yeah.
Like working with international distributors and marketing experts could help Filipino films reach more people.
Exactly. But even beyond the practical stuff, there's also the challenge of preserving Filipino cultural identity. In the context of globalization, it's about finding ways to tell those uniquely Filipino stories, while also connecting with people from all over the world on a human level.
It's about recognizing that Filipino cinema has its own rich history and its own distinct voice. It's not about trying to fit into some pre-existing mold. And that's what makes this so exciting. We're seeing Filipino cinema step onto the world stage, ready to share its stories and captivate audiences with this unique blend of artistry, art, and culture.
It's a moment filled with both opportunities and challenges. So what do you think are the key ingredients for Filipino cinema to really thrive on a global scale?
Well, continued government support for the arts is crucial. And building a strong network of film schools and production companies and distribution networks is really important. But ultimately, it comes down to the talent. Supporting those filmmakers with unique voices and visions is key.
Absolutely. It's those individual voices, those unique perspectives, that make Filipino cinema so compelling. And let's not forget about the role of audiences. It's up to us as viewers to support and champion Filipino cinema, to seek out those stories and help them find their audience.
So what can viewers do to actually support Filipino cinema? Like, let's give our listeners some concrete advice. What can they do to make a difference?
Well, the first step is simple. Watch Filipino films. They're more accessible than ever thanks to streaming platforms and festivals like MIFF. Don't be afraid to try something new.
And spread the word. Recommend Filipino films to your friends, family, colleagues. Share your thoughts online. Get people talking about them.
Yeah. Social media is a powerful tool, too. Follow Filipino filmmakers and actors. Engage with their content. Use your platform to amplify their voices. Every little bit helps.
It's about recognizing that we as viewers have a role to play. By actively engaging with Filipino films, we contribute to their growth and visibility and help them reach more people and get the recognition they deserve.
This has been such a great conversation. We've explored all the excitement around MIFF, the potential for Filipino cinema on the global stage, and the challenges that come with it. We've talked about authenticity and cultural exchange, and the role of audiences in supporting this vibrant industry.
It's been a real deep dive,
Yeah.
and I'm feeling so inspired by all the possibilities. But before we wrap up this part, I want to go back to something we touched on earlier, that special connection that Filipino films have with Filipinos all over the world.
Yeah, that's a powerful connection. Filipino films have always been a source of entertainment and inspiration and connection for Filipinos, for generations, both in the Philippines and in the diaspora.
They reflect our shared history and values and experiences. And as Filipino cinema keeps evolving and gaining international recognition, I think it's important to remember that core audience, that sense of cultural identity that's at the heart of it all.
It's a good reminder that Filipino cinema isn't just about achieving global success. It's about telling stories that resonate with the Filipino soul. Stories that connect us to our heritage and inspire us to dream.
Well, that's a great way to put it. And with that, we'll be back in just a moment to wrap up our deep dive into Filipino cinema and leave you with some final thoughts. All right, we're back for the final part of our Filipino cinema deep dive. It feels like we've gone on this journey through time, exploring the challenges and the opportunities, and really gotten a sense of the passion behind this industry.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. From those early ambitions of Genghis Khan to the success of films like Hello, Love, Again Today, Filipino cinema is definitely on an interesting path.
Yeah, and one thing that keeps coming up is this idea of cultural exchange. The power of events like MIFF to connect the Philippines with the rest of the world.
Imagine someone attending MIFF in Hollywood. Maybe they've never even seen a Filipino film before. That festival could be their introduction to this whole new world of storytelling, a world that challenges their perspectives and opens their minds.
It's like opening a window to a place you've never been, a culture you've never experienced. And suddenly it's not so foreign anymore. It's accessible, it's intriguing, and you want to learn more.
Exactly. That's the magic of film, right? It can transport you to different places, immerse you in different cultures, and help you connect with characters and stories that might be completely different from your own.
That's what makes this conversation so inspiring. It's not just about entertainment, it's about fostering understanding and empathy, recognizing our shared humanity, even in the midst of our differences.
Absolutely. We've talked a lot about the future of Filipino cinema and its potential on the global stage. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. What role can you play in this cultural exchange? How can you, as an individual, use your love of film to connect with different cultures and broaden your own horizons?
It's a good challenge, right?
Yeah.
But it's also an incredible opportunity. Maybe it starts with seeking out films from countries you've never explored before, or attending a film festival that showcases diverse voices.
Or maybe you start a film club with some friends, where you can discuss different cultural viewpoints. The possibilities are endless. And it all starts with being open to stepping outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, and don't underestimate the power of just being more mindful of the films you choose to watch.
Yeah.
What messages are they conveying? Whose voices are being represented? These are all important questions to consider as we navigate this ever-expanding world of cinema.
Exactly. Remember, film can be more than just entertainment. It can be a powerful tool for learning, for growth, for building bridges between cultures. And it all starts with a single step, a decision to engage with the world in a meaningful way.
So on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive into Filipino cinema. We hope this conversation has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore the amazing world of Filipino film.
It's been a pleasure sharing this journey with you. Keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those conversations going.
Until next time, happy watching.